my computer. Now I'm going to say happy freezing morning, right? It's cold out there.
My pipes blew up everything.
Oh no, your pipes blew up?
I didn't know.
No.
Said, June, you have to go out. I said, "Oh my God, Travis, you have to go."
Oh, they kicked you out. Well, good. You get to come here. It's nice and
Of
warm.
course.
Well, yesterday Duke went down at like 3 in the morning in my neighborhood, I guess the area. They went back on though about, I don't know, 5 o'clock-ish or something. But it was freezing because it restarted all the things. So my heat didn't kick on. It was set at like super low. And when I woke up, it was like 62 degrees in my house. And I was like, why is it so cold? Yeah, I was freezing. So yes, I'm such a baby, again, being from New York, it didn't help me at all. Everyone's like, aren't you used to this? No, guys, I moved here in 2004. I'm not used to this. You haven't turned on your heat? What is wrong with you? You like this?
Yeah.
You didn't
Something
turn
wrong
on
with
the
you.
AC. Even my car in the seats. I said,
Oh yeah, I love the heat
Me
in the
too.
seats. I mean, I actually use it when it's warm out now. Now I need it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so is everybody doing good today? I'm going to take another moment, let some people get on because everyone is too cold to turn on their computer even. It's like so silly. But what we're going to do today, guys, is we're talking about a CMA. And I do CMA, and we're not talking about, I'm not going to show you in Moxie. We're not talking about how to make a CMA pretty. That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about real live valuations. Actually, I want to share with you, is Miss Peyton on yet? No, Peyton's not here today. She called me yesterday and she has some offers coming in, yay, on her property that's at 5 million in Windermere, in a community, which of course I can't think of the name of it. You know that the one that Element built, the one right on Conroy Windermere Road. So we're going to talk about that first because this is the perfect example of when you need to know how to do a valuation. This community has 32 homes in it. There's no amenities in the community. I don't think at all.
No.
Right? No, there's a gate. And I think that's it. There's a lake, but her home is not on the lake. No, I mean, you could go outside the community and then there's a public ramp, but no, not in the community. It's 5 million, the home, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's a brand new home. Everything has been, so Element built it and they didn't like Element. So they redid everything. So everything has been brought in from Europe. It's incredible. You should see this pool. The pool is stunning. Have you guys been to this house? It's stunning. I mean, it's sunken. There's a fire pit behind it. I mean, this pool is like, it has to be 500,000, the pool. Easy, easy, probably more, right? Incredible. And it has got a beautiful, I mean, granted, there is like I would call it a little tiny road, access road behind it, but you don't see anybody. It's all beautiful trees behind it. So it's very private, but there's no necessarily view, right? But you've got this nice, quaint little oasis, I would totally say, in your backyard. Beautiful outdoor area. Gorgeous, very stunning, very modern home. Okay. How do you comp it out? Here's a question. So we're going to look at that right now. We're going to pull it in. Like, how would you do a CMA for this home? And this is going to be a perfect example because I walked through this with Peyton last night because she's got people putting in offers. How do you come up with comps to help them? How would an appraiser comp this home? Because guess what? There's nothing like it. Things at this price point in Windermere, and this is in Windermere, are on the water. Can I comp this home to water, guys? I can't. It's not, and it's certainly not. Can I put a pond home to a Butler chain home? No, it's not the same thing. You cannot comp a pond home to a Butler chain. You can't. Totally different. You guys follow what I'm saying with that, right? So here's the thing. This is when you're thinking of real comps, when they say like kind, can I go to Dr. Phillips to pull a comp from this home? No, an appraiser's not going to leave Windermere city. That's a city, Windermere, right? Even if this is an unincorporated Orange County, which I don't know, I don't think it's in the county lines. It doesn't really matter. It's a city, Windermere, right? That's a different zip code than Orlando. Totally different. They're not going to do that. They're not going to leave Windermere to go to Orlando for a comp. No one's going to do that. So this is the thing. It'd be like, could they use, now this is a new construction. So you could use new construction, but you could use a resale to compare it. But they're not going to use a resale for a new, right? If you have a used home, they're not going to look at a new home. Does that make sense? But you could pull a resale for a new if you need to. Time can do it. You could go back in time so you can account for age, but they're not going to go in another county. I mean, if they have to, they're going to try to pull some other things. So obviously, like kind, if you could pull from a community in the same community, obviously your best bet, right? They want to try to stay within the time, the constraints of your size. But if they have to go outside the size, they'll do that before they're going to leave Windermere. Does that make sense? So this was a challenge. So we're going to look at this together today, and then we can look at some other things. But I thought this was a great example of how to pull a CMA, because these are the things that we get. We all know how to pull a like kind. Guys, that's easy, right? If you don't know how to pull a like kind, go take a CMA class at Aura, right? Like that is the stuff they teach you. When you're in luxury, that's not what we get. We get these white elephants. How the heck do you price this? And then we got to figure out, how can we make this make sense? Now, listen, an appraisal, let's talk about that for a second. Is it an art or a science? They like to think it is. They like to call it an art, right? It's not. I know. It's like, all right, we have to show them up, Brady. Show them up. So cute. She's so cute. Look, let's show. Oh, our cutest little cutie in the class. So cute. Does everybody see that? Such a cutie pie in class today. What's her name?
Billy Joe.
Billy Joe won the little cute prize today. Okay. So anyway, an appraisal is art, not science, guys. So we can never guarantee to a seller that the appraisal will come in. Does that make sense? No matter what you do. So what do I always tell you? Well, you may or may not know. In a luxury home that has upgrades, what do you need to have?
Say that again, the last part?
Because an appraisal is art, not a science. And if you're dealing with a home like this that has a lot of upgrades, that has a lot of unique things that really make the price what it is, what do you need to have for your appraiser? A price sheet. You need to
Receipts.
have, what was that?
Receipts.
Well, receipts are good, but you really need a spreadsheet, a feature sheet with prices, right? You need something to showcase why it costs what it costs. So feature sheets are lovely, but have with the feature sheet an actual valuation of the cost of how that is added to the value. That is what you're going to give to your appraiser. Now, listen, they may or may not look at it, but I'm going to tell you 9 out of 10 times, I have been able to get the highest price, things that I've never priced out. I've been able to get the appraiser to do it by giving them those reports. Most of the time, I can't say all the time. Sometimes you get these little appraisers that think they know everything and they will like, I'm not looking at that. Whatever, suit yourself, people. But 9 out of times, they're going to be happy that you've done the work ahead, right? And they're going to look at it. So those are the things you want to include when you give your report to an appraiser. You're going to give that feature sheet with value. If you just give a feature sheet, what do we care? You say 8-foot doors, you say stone from, Brazil, you say, they don't know what that's worth. What is that worth? An 8-foot door, but if it's full mahogany, a solid mahogany door versus a hollow door that's not even real wood, totally different values, guys, right? So it's, what is it worth? You have to have a value next to it so that they can see why it's cost. Somebody buys a home and they spend 2 million on it, and now they want to sell it for 8. Well, God, I hope they did something to it, right? Because, so this is my point. You have to do something to substantiate that value, and you want to give it to the appraiser. Does that make sense? You also should be putting that in your MLS to substantiate your value under some, for supplemental forms, right? But point being, these are the things that will make the difference in the luxury space. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that when you're doing a CMA, you got to take into consideration. Okay, so we're going to dive on in. Any questions so far? Y'all with me? Have you all done this before? These are the ones that you come to me with and you go, I have no clue how to price this. And this is the stuff that we sit down and do. Sometimes we have to pull land value out. What I never really do, guys, the reality is replacement cost. No. Replacement cost is really something you do more in a commercial space. Replacement cost is the last thing I'm probably going to do in a residential home, right? I mean, you might look at it, but that's really not how we're going to value a home. We're not really going to use replacement costs because you really want to do more like kind things, like what is truly selling. It doesn't matter. If you built something in 2002, I don't care what it's going to cost to replace it, right? I want to know what people are selling them for. Does that make sense? So replacement cost is great for insurance, right? You need that for insurance valuations. So that's why when someone asks you to do a CMA, you want to know what's the purpose of that CMA, right? If it's for an insurance company, they want to know replacement costs because that's what you have to value it at. But if you're trying to sell a property, you have to sell it for what people are willing to pay for it. People are going to be willing to pay for what based upon what other things around it are going for. So that's why the like kind valuation comes in. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we're going to share our screen and we're going to jump into the MLS. And we're going to omit this person. Okay, here we go. So into the MLS we go. We're going to do a search residential and we're going to do what I did yesterday with Peyton. So we're going to look at first the home that she has. So we get an idea of what we're trying to value. So let's see her listing. She's not even.
She had an offer on it?
She's getting offers. And they wanted to know, they were coming in, and she's trying to give them the right pricing to what it's valued at what is valued. Okay, here it is. 4.999. We started it was 5.5 or 5.44. But you know, the market has shifted a little bit, just a tad bit. So here's this home. Let's just take a little quick peek. Beautiful, very modern, right? Now, I want you to pay attention to a couple things. Take a look at what it looks like in terms of curb value, right? Look at this backyard, right? Spectacular. Spectacular backyard. Notice privacy. Okay, these are things that you've got to take into consideration when you're going to comp it out. Okay, you're thinking lifestyle, we're in luxury, right? This is spectacular. Look at the types of materials. This stone is all brought in from Europe. It goes to floor to ceiling. It's huge. It's beautiful. All the glass. Okay, look at the quality of workmanship that we're looking at. It's a very modern home. And that doesn't mean it has to be comped with a modern home, but because we're not necessarily comping it for buyers right now, we're comping it for costs, okay? But we're getting an idea of the quality of workmanship here. Okay, lighting. I mean, this thing's got cabinetry everywhere. Everywhere's a hidden cabinet. It's really amazing. This is an awesome home if you haven't seen it. Okay. And wait, once we get to my favorite thing, I'll let you go. And then we'll go look at the comps. Hold on. A beautiful staircase. Hold on. We're not at my favorite thing yet. Oh my gosh. Where is it? Where's my favorite thing? Yes, you know what it is. Isn't that beautiful? Guys, that's so incredible. I don't know what that was. What is this thing? You guys see a weird red thing on my screen? What is that red thing on my screen? That's bizarre.
The closet?
Yeah, but where is it? Did you guys see it?
Yeah, 2-story closet.
Did I miss it though?
What is that, like a crack?
I don't know. Super weird, right? Okay. I haven't seen it yet. Has anyone seen it? Oh,
Oh, there. Wow.
it's a 2-story closet. Now, any woman is gonna love, look at this with the chandelier upstairs. This is your closet, ladies. Okay, I'm just saying. Just one more moment for the 2-story closet. Okay. I don't know what the red, it's like, isn't that weird? Is that in all things? No, it must be on my screen. It's weird, right? Is that, but you have it.
No, it's not you. Someone's doing that.
Who is doing that? Is somebody doing that on the screen? Oh, someone is drawing.
Any Alexander?
Annie, you're drawing on my screen. Andy, please don't draw on my screen. It's very bizarre and it's throwing me off. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so that is, I don't know how to stop that, so I can't. But okay, Andy, can you erase those? Because I don't know how you put them on there. Okay. So here we go. Let's see, can I? No. Drag to move. Can I erase here? Eraser. Okay, that's so weird, right?
So,
I don't know what that was about. Okay, anyway, and let's close that. Weird. Okay, so anyway, now we're gonna see. So this home, let's all keep a notice of it, is what we're looking at, guys, is a couple things. We're looking at the heated square feet, 6816. We know it's brand new. It's 6 bedrooms, 6.5 baths, right? Can someone write down for me the average price per square foot is $733. Someone write that down for me. All right. And the lot size is 0.69. Okay. So you guys got those things? So 6816, average price per square foot is 733, and it's 6.5 with 0.69. Got that? All right. Now we're gonna look for comps. Everybody with me? It's in Windermere, so that's 34786. Now, I'm going to tell you that I don't like using actives, but sometimes when you're desperate, you look at both. I hate them because active, what does active mean, guys? Nothing. It's not even sold.
Competition.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I never give an appraiser an active, but if it's for trying to prove a price to another agent, sometimes I will show an active because that's what they do. But the reality is it means nothing. An active is stupid, but sometimes I will show it. I'm just throwing that out there. So if I say sold in the last 180 days, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to go about 3 million because we're just wanting to cut it down. In Windermere, there's been 24. Now here's the problem. All right. I am going to go and I'm going to do, now I'm going to search it not from price because price is sort of irrelevant. Would you guys agree with that? I'm going to look for price per square foot because remember we have all different sizes, right? And we know that the sold price, I'm going to go to solds, price per square foot that we're at, it was 733, right? So realistically, really, I'm only up to this line right here at this Isleworth. Everything above Isleworth and above are the only ones that are really within that price range, a price per square foot. That only leaves me with 9 homes that it would be comps, right? Compared to price per square foot. But this is the problem, guys. Let's look at the subdivisions. On Lake Butler, Keens Point. Well, first of all, Keens Point, we already know what's the problem with Keens Point. Community-wise, does that community compare to the community that we're looking at? Not at all. Totally different thing. Let's take a quick peek and look at this home. And let's not look at it that way. Let's look at the overview. Is this home on the lake? First of all, totally different styling, but here's your problem. The lake. Yeah, look. We had a dock. Right? So what do we close out? We close that one off, right? No bueno. Can't compare it. Now we go back. Isleworth. Does anything in Isleworth compare to that community? Totally different community. It's going to be tough to compare Isleworth to that community, right? Kelso on Lake Butler. So we already know, I don't even have to pull it up, but we will, oh, we're already in trouble, right? So let's keep looking. Agent line display.
Maybe Casabella, that is the only one that has nothing inside.
So Casabella, you're 100% right, is a great, but look how far down it is. Casabella, the price per square foot on Casabella is much lower. I completely agree with you, Paolo, but it's $416 price per square foot and we're at $733. So yeah, but no, right? Because we can't compare it. We're $300 price per square foot higher. So back to agent line display, no bueno.
Carrie, there
So-
are houses in Isleworth that are not on the golf course and just kind of
Yes.
normal lots.
Yes, but you're Isleworth. It's really hard to compare Isleworth to that community. Isleworth it's just not a good direct comp. Now, this one, Château du Lac, which still is a great community, but has no amenities, just has a gate, right? Is beautiful, but you could possibly make a claim, in my opinion, to compare Château du Lac with that community. Is Château du Lac a better community? Yes, but I think you could use Château du Lac. But here's your problem with Château du Lac. And you have two problems. Price per square foot is lower, $661. But if you thought, okay, this could be a better, like your home was better, but here's your problem. Outside, is our home comp is better? No, they're just different, right? Still beautiful curbside. Okay, now you have a problem. Different, but beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So lots of details. Again, different styling, but still beautiful. So we have a problem, right? Houston, there's a problem. Let's look here and see. Okay, it's not on a lake. I don't see a lake, but is there a pool? Yes. Is this pool as spectacular? No, but it still has a beautiful outdoor area with a fireplace, an eat-in kitchen, a nice pool. So it's not nice enough or not as nice comparatively to make a case to say your home is so much nicer that it's 733 per square foot and this is 681.
And you can do the takeaway because it was built in 2018.
Yeah. So this is the problem. This is not a good comp. It's not going to showcase why ours is so much worth so much more. So you see, could have been a good one, but it's not a good enough example. You follow me?
But
So-
Carrie, can't you just add the difference in the pool? Just say,
But that
okay,
has a pool.
this has a $150,000 pool. We have a $400,000 pool. You can't just add that. I mean, you make adjustments all the time.
Yeah, but think about it, that they might take away for some other things. I don't think there's a big enough difference to give you this, that difference in price per square foot. I think and they might take away from your community versus that community. I think it's not a great comp. It's okay.
And the
I don't,
roof,
huh?
it's not a big difference on the roof because there's a flat roof there.
It's a tile roof and the other one's a tile roof. So no, you're both tile roofs. So,
What was the lot size?
oh, and the lot size is probably, I think it was comparable. Because trust me, I looked at this one. That's why I was trying to see. It's bigger. This is over an acre lot and ours is 0.6. So there's just too many things that could sway you to bring your value down. So, but you see here, I was like, I was trying to make this one work, but I just couldn't figure out a way to make this one work. So instead, I went back in time. I'd rather give a time differential, right?
They will go back a year.
They will go back a year, especially when you're doing
Can't find it.
you can't find one. Exactly. So let's go back a year and let's keep it with the price per square foot. Let's see. And now let's see how far much. All right. So sold price per square foot goes down to this one over here, which is now we have 16 homes. So let's see, 16 homes and in 16 homes, but I will take you to take a look at another home that I want you to see. Is it this one? Is it Sunset Bay? No. Let's take a peek at this. Nope, that's a
Yes.
lakefront lot. Don't look at that one. Which one was it that I sent her? Oh, here it is. This is lower price per square foot. This one is $678. Okay, so it's lower. But does anybody know the community Sawyer Sound? This actually sold just over, just over 6 months because it's July 3rd. This is a great comp for our purpose. Anybody know Sawyer Sound? Sawyer Sound is a small, tiny community, probably about roughly the same amount of homes, 30-ish homes. It's right across the street from Oxford Moor. And it is a weird community. Some are modern like this, some are Mediterranean. It's just bizarre. So there's no really nice commonality in the community. Like Chandelak looks beautiful and it's not even gated. I don't think it's gated. Is Sawyer's not gated? I don't really remember if it's a gated community. I don't think it's gated. It's kind of it's a weird community. But it's cool. Now, how much curbside appeal do you have here? Not so much. Ours kills it on curbside appeal. Would you guys agree with that? Modern, nice. This is a newer home as well. Okay, so we both have two modern homes, but how much nicer is ours inside? Right? This almost looks a little IKEA-ish. I mean, it's nice, right? But our home is far superior. Now, look at the view. You see another house, you see a fence, right? We're going to get to the pool. Ours is far superior, right? Far superior in view. Ours is look at the pool. Ours is far superior. An outdoor area, look. What do you have here? You have a very standard pool, very standard outdoor. You don't have any kind of eating kitchen. You don't have any kind of outdoor kitchen. You don't have any kind of outdoor actually living amenities. No lifestyle there.
Can you compare with some houses in Bella Colina? Because there's a.
Bella Colina is Montbird. We're Windermere.
Yeah, you
No.
cannot, not even for the house.
No, nope, two different areas. But you see this one, our house is far superior. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
So this is a great comp to give because this one, let's take a quick peek here. This one closed again July 3rd, so we're pretty close to the 180 days even. And this one closed price per square foot at, it listed at higher, $791, but it closed at $678. So you could definitely, and the home site is smaller than ours, 0.48. So we have a larger home site. Our community is actually better. Our entryway is better. Our materials are much better. Our pool is far superior. So everything in all categories is superior. So this is a fabulous comp. So we don't care that the price is 3 million and ours is 5 because it's based on price per square foot. So even though this is 44.21, remember the smaller the square footage, it's usually a higher price per square foot, right? So to me, this is a fabulous comp for ours to compare, to showcase why our price per square foot should be even higher than this one. Does that make sense? So
Carrie,
this,
I thought appraisers don't like to. I mean, that's over 2,000 square foot difference. Is that something that an appraiser would consider as a comp?
yes, in this type of, because Shane, we're not in an area where we have other comps, right? Have you seen another comp that's a better comp? There is no
No.
other comps. That's the problem. Like, so if you're in an area where you have a lot of comps, no, why would we do that? We wouldn't do that. But when you are trying to find a like kind property, you have to give something. They will give on square footage in this instance, because look how similar the homes are. Look how similar the ages are, pretty close. The communities are so similar. Then you have, they're going to look for certain similarities. They're going to give somewhere. They would give more in that area than they would give in other areas. Like this is not a single story where that one's a two-story. This is a two-story. You see what I'm saying? There's enough commonality that would make a appraiser look at this. Does that make sense? If this was a Mediterranean single story in an Isleworth, no, they're not going to look at that for sure. But this is why this is a great comp. Does that make sense? This is why when you're dealing in that kind of a white elephant type of a situation, you have to think outside the box. That's why you can't go to Orlando and pull one that looks just the same. It doesn't matter. They're not going to cross the line. They're going to rather pull something in Windermere that is more similar, like kind community, like kind construction, like kind stylings. You know, this has got so many similarities. Is it a little smaller? Yes. But out of all things being equal, that's not a lot of, has so many other things, points that it match, it would make it a great comp. Does that make sense?
Yes, even there is I think 7 or 8 houses in Keenest Point that are modern, just like this. Those in the in the back that we cannot use it because of the golf course or
Well, the problem is Keens Point is not a like-kind community. You could try to throw them in, but I probably would bet that the appraiser would throw it out. I mean, you can listen, you can throw in whatever you want, but remember, Keens Point is a great comp for Isleworth, which is a great point for, you could use probably even a Lake Butler Sound, although it's not as good of a comp. Isleworth and Keens Point are going to be great comps. The problem with Montverde is Bella Colina is its only comp, right?
Yeah.
There is no other community like it in Montverde. It's its own weird thing out there. So it has to really comp within itself. That's the reality. So when you think about communities having like kind similar things, Isleworth has a lot of comps within itself. In Lake Nona, for example, Lake Nona Golf and Country Club really takes its own comps internal. It doesn't take comp like the Pulte community, the Enclave thinks it can comp against Lake Nona Golf and Country Club. No, it does not. Shane, have you ever had comps coming from Pulte Enclave for Lake Nona Golf and Country Club? No, they won't take that because it does not comp. You know, they are going to be very specific taking from the like-kind community. But, you know, even for example, we had one, there's the Taylor Morrison behind the gate. They might pull from outside the gate because, you know, in Laureate Park, there's a gated and a non-gated community. But if it's Taylor inside the gate and David Weekly outside the gate, they may still comp them because they're still production builders, right? So there's certain things that will make an appraiser look at that. It's not necessarily a gate versus a non-gate, but it is definitely amenities versus non-amenities, gated community, golf front community, you know, clubhouse community. These are things that are going to make them look differently, but certainly a custom builder versus a non-custom builder, you know, very different. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. Another thing I just want you to take a look at when you're considering, let's take another look at agent line. For example, if I am trying to comp out in Dr. Phillips, any other questions about how we would comp this out? Everybody have? Now, I want you to take a look at another thing. If I pulled in an active, which we did, for not an appraiser because they don't care about actives. Let's go back to criteria. Results. That's interesting. That is very interesting. I only have the solds up at the top. It's very weird. Oh, listed price. But if you're trying to comp out for another advisor, another agent, you could look at, for example, like here, downtown Windermere, look at this. Park Ave. This is a weird comp. This is a land only comp, right? This is going to be hard to comp that kind of thing. These are the other things that you have to look at. Sometimes you might have to pull land only. You might have to see the usage of it. That might be a commercial thing. Let's see what it was. Country Club. Let's see what else. Where is the one? Let's see what we have here. Okay. 22 million. Let's look at this 22 million. Let's say we have this 22 million. This first fun. How many comps do we think we have for a 22 million? Anybody?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. Exactly.
I found a good comp in Dr. Phillips. It was 724
Well,
square foot.
the problem is when you're trying to comp a 22 million in Windermere, you have to stay in Windermere, remember. You can't go to Dr. Phillips. They're not going to want to do that. Now, so you're going to have to, again, in this type of thing, you have 12 acres. So I would suggest if you were comping this out, I would first comp out the 12 acres. So in this type of thing, you could comp out the land, which is, I think, on the water. And so that's going to comp out a lot higher. So you can take the land cost out and then comp the home. So that's how you would comp a property like that if you do not have a comp for 22 million like this. So if you think how much would 22 acre, is it 22 acres? No, it's 10 acres. How much acreage is this?
Well,
12 acres. How much would 12 acres on how much is Lake Down cost? A lot. So you could do a land and you look at all the properties that were 12 acres that have sold. How much would land on 12 acres cost? Then you take that price out and then you comp out the property, which is 20,000 square feet. Then you put those two costs together and that's how you come up with your 22 million. Does that make sense? But let's look at, for fun, Dr. Phillips, quick. Which is better, the 32836 or the 32819? Anybody? It's
Tough one.
3 million plus. Let's see, I'll do both. I just want to see what comes up higher. It's a mix, actually, but well, you've got your golden oak. Let's look at the golden oak. See, golden oak, what can you comp golden oak against? Anybody?
I think you could comp out, I think Isleworth would be a good golden oak comparable.
But golden oak is Dr. Phillips and Isleworth is Windermere, and an appraiser's not going to do that. Right? That's the problem. So golden oak is going to comp out against golden oak. Yeah. And Isleworth, again, I think Isleworth and Keens Point, you're going to comp out against each other. And you can also use, if Isleworth, you can comp out anything. If it's on the Butler chain, you could do a Butler chain, but again, it depends. Like if it's a Chien du Lac, you could use a Chien du Lac against it. You know, there's some nicer communities that you could do, although you do lose out somewhat on the amenity side. So it's harder, but Chien du Lac is nice. It doesn't have the amenities though. So it's a little bit, it will lose points on that for sure. But yeah, golden oak is a tough one because in Dr. Phillips, there really is no community that stands up to a golden oak. So really in golden oak, in my opinion, an appraiser is going to, now see, Kara, to your point, when you're pricing, so there's two conversations here. Let's stop this for a second. There's CMAs for two reasons. Well, there's CMAs for a couple of reasons, right? You got the CMA to price it. We have a pricing conversation that we have saying, how much will people be willing to pay? And when we do that, Kara, to your point, we are looking at Isleworth if we're doing golden oak or golden oak for Isleworth. And we're looking at, like, if we have a listing that we're going to put out in Isleworth, we're going to see this buyer might buy in golden oak. This buyer might buy in, Chien du Lac. This buyer might buy anywhere in this area. So what is my comparables? What is my competition? So when you're pricing it, when you're doing the CMA for pricing purposes, yes, to your point, Kara, you are looking at those other communities because that is where your buyers may buy. Does that make sense? So there's two reasons. Now, I'm not going to bring for the CMA purposes, Alejandro, hello. I'm not going to bring those communities to show the seller, right? Because in an appraisal situation, the appraiser is not going to pull those communities. Does that make sense? But when I'm pricing it, yeah, I am looking at those communities because in your point, a buyer who can afford Golden Oak can afford Isleworth. Does that make sense? Yeah. And those two are similar, although different lifestyles. And so what's going to make the buyer buy Isleworth versus Golden Oak, or what's going to make them buy Bella Colina versus, right? Those are going to be lifestyle choices, but if they can afford one, they can afford all. So that is something you have to consider. What's on the market in all of those communities? Why does your home, which is why you have to have a feature list with your pricing at this price point. Because now listen, we all know that the luxury buyer can afford it, but we also know that the luxury buyer didn't get to be wealthy by not knowing what they were paying for things. So sometimes I think we get a little bit caught up in the fact that they can buy whatever they want, so they don't care. That is not actually accurate. And that's why they have accountants and people doing stuff for them, because they task them with that job. So they want to know that the value is there, they may just say, I don't care, I'll buy it for whatever value, but they also do want to know that they're getting a true value. Does that make sense? So sometimes I think we get a little bit carried away with, well, we can price it for whatever we want because the person with money won't care. That is not actually accurate. The person with money does care. They don't maybe necessarily need to care. And if they want to buy it for whatever price they can, but I think it's critical in the higher dollar that we do show the value more than any other price point. You know, if you're in a $800,000 home, it's probably going to appraise if we priced it right. I'm not saying don't take the extra step and put in the prices, but it's not as critical. Does that make sense? But when you're in the upper echelon and you are the difference between an Isleworth or a Chien du Lac or a Golden Oak, you want to build that value. You want to show why someone should buy your home versus another home, right? And those things, the built-in, safe room and, the extra lifts for the cars, those have not only intrinsic value, but it also has a cost to do that. Because if another home doesn't have it, you want them to know that you spent $300,000 to put that safe room in. Because if they needed to build a safe room in that home in Golden Oak, they need to have an idea that, oh my God, I have to add 300 grand and the hassle of putting one in, right? That's the other reason that you have it on there. Because if the other home doesn't have it, it reminds them of what they'd have to do, if they even could, to put it in there. Does that make sense? And it doesn't have to be the penny. It's just a roundabout number of what was done to put it in there. And you know that they know because they hired contractors to do it if they had to put it in themselves. Does that make sense? Is everybody doing that? I have a feeling you're not, but not everybody lists at the highest range. How high is the highest home you sold, Alejandro? We had him do that, didn't we have him do the price list?
I do it all. It's just, I don't like putting so much verbiage on the description. So I just attach them and I'm just like here during the showings, I give them all the features list.
And does it have prices on it?
Yes, yeah.
So Alejandro does it with every home. I love that. Thank you for listening. Anybody else?
ChatGPT and they do it.
And he uses ChatGPT and they do it for you. I love it.
Ultra.
He was well trained. Excellent. Anybody else doing that? Everybody is silent, Tuzan.
Yeah.
Have you been doing it, Brady? He will be. Excellent. Excellente. Kara, don't you do it?
Well, I'm trying to think about what so are you saying do the features list, and on the features list, an actual, like what things are costing and breaking it down, the value. Let me ask you a step further. Are you meaning like value of like being on a golf course, what that value is, value of the
No, like the feature, that's not really on the features list, right? Like if you
Right.
put a safe room, they had that added, did that cost them 300 grand to do that?
Oh,
they-
yeah. Yes, I am doing that. So,
That's not-
yeah, for my properties that they've added additional items in, absolutely. I think the value is important. Even if it doesn't translate dollar for dollar, it is very important to include the pricing.
And it helps with your appraisals, I'm sure.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. When I give my little folder, quote unquote, to the appraiser, it does have that in there. Absolutely.
Excellent. What about you, Linda? Low Grady.
Hi,
Linda.
yes, I do. And also I send them comps, the appraiser.
Right.
I find my own comps and send it to them.
Exactly. Okay, so we're going to take another look at a CMA over here. So let us take a look at one other thing I really like to do. Ready? So let's share again. So let's say we're pulling up, someone give me a property that we're going to appraise. Give me a high dollar property. Anybody care?
Do you want to do the Lake Nona one?
Sure.
Okay, so let me give it to you. Hold on. Let me get the address. Just for kicks, we're talking about it. So 9264 Sloan Street.
92C
9264.
64
Sloan
Sloan. It's
Street.
not coming. Why is it not coming up? Aha, there it is. It's like, come up. Okay. And I want everything sold. Let's see, active and sold. Let's see what's around it. Okay, let's take a peek. So this is the listing for 3.9. Okay. So it's on the golf course, yes.
3 holes. It overlooks 3 of the holes and water. And here's the thing about this home, the lanai actually has, it's over 2,000 square feet of covered space. So that even adds more value.
Okay. So when was this built, Care?
This is built in 20, let's see, I can't remember. 2015.
Okay, 2015. All right.
And the
So
thing about these in this community is some of those are more customized, like more of a customized builder.
who was this builder?
This is Bill Maroon.
Okay. So this is listed at $888 price per square foot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay. You have almost a half acre
Mm-hmm.
and you have 4,300 square feet for almost 4,400 square feet, 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now let's see what has sold. What has sold in the last, so you have something that's sold very similarly right here. That's
Well,
just
it's
interesting.
listed. Yeah, it was listed for that.
Oh God, it was
sold-
listed for that. It sold for
yeah.
716. Holy crap. Hold on. Thank you for bringing me back to reality. Holy crap. That's a little scary. Wait, let's see what's happened. Oh my gosh. Okay. And it's much smaller because here's the problem. Price per square foot is always much higher in a small home. So here, these are bigger, right? And so these sold, interestingly enough, were listed around the same price, but they sold again. This one sold at least at 775, but again,
But
they were much
since they
bigger.
are 1998, can we put depreciation on the price to see how the square foot would look like today?
Well, no, these just closed in 180 days.
Yeah, but they are built in
They were built in
1998.
1998, but it looks like this was probably renovated. Let's see.
There's a lot of renovations going
Yeah,
on
this is
on
Lake
the
Nona
older
Golf and
homes.
Country Club. Yeah, most of, oh, they took out the pictures. I hate that.
Yeah,
They took the picture out, so we don't know.
I
But
know.
I'm
You
sure
could
this
maybe
was
go
fully
down.
renovated.
Yeah,
this
you
is
could
about
maybe
half
go
an
down to
acre.
history.
Actually, if we go over here to RPR,
Up here, it's not that high.
no, what I'm going to look at in RPR is this. Okay. Sometimes another thing I like to do, actually, you know what? Let's go back here. What was yours again? 9864?
9264.
264 Sloan. Reed. Sloan is an E, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So sometimes I also like to see, guys, when I'm doing my pricing, this is one of my favorite things to do. How many of you guys like this? I love this. I like to see what other homes have sold for and what other homes are active for in RPR. Have you guys ever used this?
Yeah.
It is a great tool. So this is leasing. Interesting. This one is the one that closed. This is active. Interesting. These.
Here, what's that 4 million one down there at the bottom right? Or no, I'm sorry, go up.
That's yours.
Yeah. Sorry, right. Yes, right there. Yeah.
This is just their RPR. That's
Okay.
their value.
Got it.
Yeah. Unless it's got like a blue or a yellow. That means, so a lot of these are just old homes that are just, they have not done anything with it, right? We don't know. But like over here, that's 1.7.
So also I was thinking this, that little cove over there, it's very rare for homes to come up on the little cove where we're listed.
Right.
Like on Sloane Street, it's very rare to be on that course. Like, so I did take a look at all of those homes like that are right there on that little area.
You've got a lot of actives in this other corner up here.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes when you're looking to see, now you want to see also what is around you to get an idea. Like, for example, if you're trying to sell in Champions Gate, you want to see, is it possible to be able to get that price? And you really can get a good feel for what's going on in the neighborhood by doing this. So, Care, would you say this little run over here is more desirable than specifically different parts?
Yeah, so like right there, kind of where your little cursor was over there, like it's more on the golf course side, right? Like
This
that's
side?
kind of like, yeah, there, and then it goes all the way up to where you were looking before, but it's just on that side of the street. So I
So
do feel
this
like,
side.
yeah, so there, and then down where ours is, if you follow the road down, it's just, I feel like those homes are the more coveted area. And then within the
Mhm.
community, there's also quote unquote, not track homes per se, but there's also other homes that are not as
Like
customized. And
here.
yeah, in the newer section.
You could tell that here.
So like an out-of-state buyer wouldn't know the difference. They're just pulling up square footage by square footage, right?
But it's funny because these are high price,
Yeah.
but they're much more modern. But these are not even really on the fairway.
Yeah, so that right there are the coach homes where you were just
Yeah.
at.
This whole area, right?
Yeah, except for underneath. If you look at that, go down a little bit. If you look at that one road to the left, yeah,
This one.
yes, that one. That's yeah, some of
Nice.
those are customized and newer. Yeah.
So interesting. This whole little circle here, which has got a lot of things, are the ones you got. Like this one's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what you need to do, in my opinion, is now this is probably listed by Lake Nona Mark Golf and Country Club, but it
Yeah,
is a
so
brand new home.
that's a builder that bought that and is getting ready and is working on building that out right now.
Yeah. So here, oh, he's getting ready. It's not built, this home?
Well, yeah. I don't know if it's, I actually don't think it's been built yet. Not that one. Sorry, I was confused with another one.
So and guys, here's the thing that just became apparent to me, and this is sometimes what becomes apparent when you're looking through a community. If you can see that this area is far superior than this area, and you see that this area has a lot of homes for sale and this doesn't, what becomes apparent to you? Anybody?
Sure.
Well, you have new construction here, but what does this tell you you need to be doing? Not necessarily for pricing purposes, but now that you have a listing, what is the first thing you need to be doing?
Driving the neighborhood?
Okay, this is so painful.
I don't know.
No, you need to do a big social media push about the location in the community, why this area is far superior than the new area. How there's hardly anything for sale that ever comes in the market over here because this area is on the fairway. And to get into Lake Nona Golf and Country Club is so unusual to be on the fairway. And you mentioned, to be in here, you usually just have to go in the new custom area, which is the coach houses that are, not on the fairway. not negative pricing, just, true information. You know what I mean, Kara?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Because that's
that's the
true.
thing. That's the thing with the value on it. Yes, they are building a bunch of new builds and, those are all new. And like that one that you were looking at, that's not built yet, but
But they're not on the golf.
right, they're not on the golf course. So there has to be some sort of additional value. And then that becomes also, okay, what is that value? You can overlook 3 holes. You also have a water view. What is that value? I mean, to me, that exceeds, like, is it 300,000? Is it 400,000?
Well, that's when you have to do land value. So did you find out what the builders are charging for their land over here?
That lot that you just looked at,
This one?
that one was purchased for 1.5.
So if they're selling 1.5 for that lot,
Mm-hmm.
then a lot like this has got to be worth at least double.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you have a home on it, right? So you're selling the home here for 3.9. But the
Yeah.
problem is it's older, right? So how old is it?
Yeah, 2015.
But it's not that much older. Yeah. So have you gotten any action on it?
Yeah, we've gotten showings.
Yeah.
But we've gotten showings for sure.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you have to do truly is a marketing campaign explaining the locations within the community.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows the community. Nobody understands the value that there are no more available on the golf course and overlooking the water.
Right.
And because if you want to try to come up with a price point that is, and I'm not going to say it's high because Lake Nona Golf and Country Club, the highest thing that's sold in there is 6.9. So I think this is high. This thing is 6.1. It'd be interesting to see if that sells.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Isn't that 6.1? Where'd it go?
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, it's right there.
It's not popping up. But 6 million. The highest thing that sold in there was what's his face's home, Lou Holtz, for 6.9. So unless something has sold in the last 6 months that I don't know about, but Lou Holtz at this point was the highest thing. And that's the other thing you want to do too, guys. When you are trying to price out a community or price out a home, you have to know what has sold in that community. So you would do a search. You would say sold ever. So say above 3 million. And then you would do 32827. And you would do the community. You do the stars. There's been 32 homes ever sold above 3 million in that community. And the highest price is, drum roll, please. Where's 10?
Oh,
Oh, I'm wrong. 599. They didn't even, I thought 6.5. Didn't it sell for 6.5? Lou Holtz's home?
I don't know. I thought it was a different home on Mayfair that sold, but now I'm seeing the Lake Nona Shore.
Yeah, 5.99. Maybe unless it was off market that sold for 6.5. But look, I'm saying sold ever, 5.99. So that home that they're trying to sell, not on the golf course for 6 million, would break all records according to MLS.
when did that sell?
This home sold last year in January.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Lou Holtz's home sold before that. So I think Lou Holtz's maybe it was off market. I don't know. Now I'm confused. Do you remember which one was Lou Holtz's home? Was it Mayfair?
No, I think it's the one, go over care.
Which where?
I don't think his was the highest price sold. I always
No?
thought it was the one on Mayfair Point, but now I see obviously the Lake Nona Shore Drive.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, at any rate, I know it was
Market. take that one to sell, the top one?
This one took 124 days.
So,
Well, that's what Kathy Williams says. So we don't know if that's true. But my point is, guys, if you're pricing, let's say I'm that builder trying to price that. Am I pricing that to sell? No. So that person who did the CMA to price that at 6 million, whoever that person is an idiot because they're pricing that beyond the actual prices. Let's see. You follow what I'm saying? That would be the highest price ever, and he's not even on a Supreme lot. Now, we right now have 4 above that.
they're all overpriced.
6, 7. Let's see what this is. This is gonna be fun, Care. Oh, another brand new home. Who did this one? Oh, same person. Who is this? Do you know this builder?
Yeah, I just met him the other day.
Brazilian?
Yeah,
He'll be surprised.
he's scooping up a lot of property in there.
I liked Barcelona. He was better. So this is on 0.4 an acre and probably not even, so this is, but look, these are not even built. They're under construction. So that's the thing. They put them out here. They're under construction. I guarantee at 916 price per square foot. This will probably sell. My guess is probably maybe 800 price per square foot. What do you think here? So you can put whatever you want in the construction phase, but you know what happens with the builder? Does everybody know what happens in a builder? When you get closer to construction finish, your costs start to compound. And if you don't sell by the time that home is finished, you are really at the point where you have to sell. That's what happens because your costs have now compounded. Everything that you've put out for that home has hit your bottom line and you have to sell. And now every day you don't sell, the home gets more and more expensive, compounds extremely quickly. So you want to sell really in the pre-construction phase. That's when you really want to sell. Well, it's a spec. If you're a spec builder, which apparently he is. So I wonder how many days he is. Kara, do you know when none of these are under contract, right?
No, I mean, I know he's building a handful in there right now and doing some renovation. But he's got a few houses going at once, so I'm sure he is eager to sell.
I'm sure he is. I wonder who gave him the idea about pricing. Is he working with a realtor?
He is, yeah. He's working with like Nona. Oh, this one is still, yeah.
This one is
He's
what?
working with like Nona Realty.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Say no more. We got it all figured out now. Okay. Interesting. So if you're comping these and you're looking at your comp and you're saying, okay, my price, where's your home?
I really like what you said, Carrie, in regards to the lot value. I think that that is a really important factor in the way that I present it. Just because that is the truth, obviously, if that one sold for 1.5 and then this one overlooks the golf course, the value that you're, getting there is important to highlight.
I absolutely agree with that. I think that honestly, you really have to 9264, you're right here. So your listed price though is one of the highest. You have others that are higher, but they're probably mostly the to be built. You're the second highest, I think that's not to be built, right? Because aren't these
and ours, I think, is in one of the best locations in the community, which again, you have to emphasize to people who aren't familiar with the community.
So, Care, to my point, on your CMA, what you need to do is you need to take out the lot price.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to add that as a line item.
Yeah.
So when you're showcasing off the home and you're adding all the included features, you also need to add the price of the home site.
Right.
Right. And what that premium would cost you. Right. So that when people understand where's this value coming from, you got to show what the home site premium would be.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's a one of a kind because it cannot be, there is no more. There are no more. It's a one of a kind.
And there rarely are. What I was going to do today is look at how I was just going to basically take on the map just that row of homes and look at what the pricing was, like how recently, like if there was only 2 homes or 3 homes sold in the last 5 years, that's a big deal as well.
Right. So remember, guys, the way you sell and you set records is by creating a one of a kind. By creating a one of a kind, you have to know what has sold, why it sold, who your buyers are, and then be able to explain to your buyers what your differentiating value is, what the value of that differentiating value is, what the lifestyle you bring is, and then be able to put it on paper. Because you're not going to talk to the buyers. Right? You're the listing agent. That's the idea. That's why you're doing the CMA, right? I mean, unless you're representing the buyer doing a CMA for them, but 9 out of 10 times you're the buyer. You're going to have a CMA ready for your appraisers. You're going to have a CMA ready for your seller. You're going to have a CMA ready for the buyers. These are the 3 different CMAs you're going to do, right? A CMA when you're going in to price it, a CMA ready to show the seller for the pricing, a CMA for your appraiser, and a CMA that will be given to the buyer's agents, right? These are the CMAs that you need to have ready at all times. Does that make sense? And the one that you're going to give to the buyers is similar to the one you're going to give to the appraiser, right? But the one thing that you can differentiate on the one for the buyer's agent is that you can also, which I would never give to an appraiser, but you could include actives because they need to understand what they're competing with. Because they're getting this value from you, they can go buy something from someone else, right? That is what's out there today. That's why you can include it.
That's really good. I never thought of that.
Yeah, well, that's why you can include it to a buyer's agent. Because this is what's on the market right now. And this is the opportunity you're getting here right now from us. Exactly. But the appraiser doesn't care, right? Appraiser really can care less. They want to know what the value is.
Well, it's a really good point.
But it's a good point. Yeah, for the buyer's agent. For sure. The appraiser doesn't care. Any questions on CMA, guys? Did you all get something from it today? I hope so. Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing you again on our awesome first team meeting of the month. So take care and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thanks.
Bye. God bless you.